All right, welcome back. Next video here. I just put the bottom head on my drum. My name's Tom Nelson. And I kind of tuned it up, quarter turn. We have our bottom head on. You can see that there. This video, I'll put the top head on. It's the same process as the bottom head. Now I will warn you, if you're doing a snare drum, that's a whole nother animal. So some of these things don't necessarily apply to the snare drum. You'll need to check out other videos on that, and I'll post some for that. But we're doing tom-toms here. And don't forget, when you're doing your top head, before you put the head on, you want to put a little wax around it if you have some. Again, as I said with the bottom head, this is not imperative. It's not the most important thing in the world. I sometimes forget to do it. I'm going to put my head on. Again, my logo is going to match the logo of the bottom head, which happens to be here. This, by the way, is the Evans G1, but this is the coated head. On the bottom, I put the clear head. That's a very resonant head. It's a standard resonant head. It's also the Ambassador, it's known as, in the Remo line of drum heads. I like to play a coated head on top. Some people like a clear on top. You could put a clear G1 on top or a coated G1. There are lots of different heads that have different sounds. I know that. I'm aware of that if you're a drummer. And everybody has their preference on sounds. What I'm doing here is showing you the standard. This is the standard. A clear single ply head on the bottom and a coated single ply head on the top. This is what most drums, when you buy them new, come as. They come with this kind of a setup. And that's all we're doing here. From here you can build out and try out all kinds of different things. So bear with me. This is my coated single ply G1 by Evans, or if you're buying Remo, you're looking at the Ambassador. I'm putting it on top. This is the top head. I know that because I have my muffler right here. We've already figured that out in my last video. And I'm lining up the logo with the bottom logo because I'm that kind of person. I like things to look neat like that. You don't have to do that. Nobody says you have to do that. You can put the logo wherever you want. But when I put this drum on my drum set and I'm looking at it to hit it, that's what it's going to look like. My logo is going to be on top. And kind of like a clock, 12 o'clock is where the logo will be. And it also helps me when I set up, know that my drum is set up straight. Great, there it is. My head is on top. It's sitting nicely. Take my rim, just as I did on the bottom head, set that on, line it up with the holes. Make sure it's seated right in there, fits good. Again, I mentioned in the last video, the Evans is making this 360 technology where the heads sit on the shell very nicely, very evenly, and you don't have to work so hard to seat the head. Remo heads are still making them the way they used to, and you actually kind of have to seat those heads. There's a whole process to that. So I recommend the Evans because they're a lot easier to work with. So again, here we go. I put my washers on my lug bolts. A little bit of Vaseline, just like I did with the bottom. I talked in that video a little bit about different lubrications. If you want to know about lubrications and you didn't see that video, back up a video in this playlist. Check out my bottom head video. I talk about that a little bit. So here we go. Put that in this side. Put this one in this side. And I got to work those threads. Now, again, I said this in the last video. It's worth saying again. You want to make sure you get those threads to go in, and they should go in easily. Be really careful not to cross-thread it. If you have the wrong angle as you're threading, and you get the threads to go on an angle and you rethread it, you're gonna strip out that receiver, and then you got a problem. You're gonna have to buy new receivers. And if you have a new drum, that's not a big deal, buying a new receiver. But if you have an old vintage drum like this is, that's going to be a big deal because you're going to have a hard time finding that part. And anybody who has that part will know what you did and will want to charge you excessively to replace that part. You know what I mean? So here we go. Next one, ready to roll. Put that in there. And as I did with the bottom head, I'm going finger tight. Once I get these threaded, that one started, I'm going finger tight. Finger tight there, finger tight there. I got 2 to go. Put my washers on. finger tight, there we go. Oh, I got a little bit of tone there out of them, great. Same as the bottom head, I'm going to put my drum key on, I'm going to go 1/4 of a turn. If you're not sure what a 1/4 of a turn is, go back and watch the last video, I showed you what a 1/4 turn is there. I'm going to go crisscross on the drum, and there I have it. Sounds like I have to do a little fine tuning, they're not all the same pitch, but I have my top head on. There it is. My drum is completely put back together. In the last several videos, I have disassembled this drum, taken the heads off, rims off, lug bolts. I have disassembled everything on the drum. I've pitch checked the shell. I found out it was an E. I cleaned the drum. I bent a rim back to straight, trued it, and I put the drum back together after I cleaned it, put new heads on it. The drum is back together. You probably could play it. Yeah, it has an okay sound. Right there you could play it. But for me, what I would do at this point is I would fine tune it for the drum set that it's going to go on, and fine tune that drum set for the style of music I'm going to play. And stay in this video series. I have a whole bunch more videos after this on fine tuning and tuning theories and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Thanks for checking in. I hope you learned something today.